What's up guys, Nick Friend. Thanks for coming back. This is video number 2 in a series that I'm calling Depth in Imagery. Today we're talking about lighting and more importantly, 3-point lighting, basic interview lighting setups. It's super simple and a lot of times it's super boring. We're gonna look at some ways to create more depth in a very simple setup with a very simple background and how you can implement that very easily into your new setups so that you can improve the value of the images that you create. So let's get into it. I love remote lights, they're so cool. Anyways, let's check this out. All right, so what I have set up right here is a basic 3-point lighting setup. So we have a key light over here, we have a fill light right here, and we've got a hair light right over there that I haven't turned on yet. Now we're gonna go over, oh boy. First of all, what is a key light? Well, the key light is the main source of lighting for your setup, whether that's for an interview or for a dramatic scene or whatever. It's the main source of lighting. Crucially though, it's not always the most bright source of lighting. It's just the most important source of lighting. And a lot of people kind of confuse that with being the brightest light in the shot. It's not necessarily the brightest light, it's just the most important light. After that, we have the fill light, which is this one that's right over here. So the fill light is literally just used to fill in the blanks that the key light is sort of missing in a way. Now, a lot of times you can use very, very little fill light to get a more dramatic setup. In this case, I'm using a good amount of fill light to sort of even out the lighter parts with the darker parts. Lastly, we have our hair light or rim light or shoulder light or catch light. You can call it a bunch of different things. So it's gonna be this little guy right over there. It's an old little aperture, little M9 panel thing. I'm gonna go turn that on right now and you'll see. I'm using a really, really pungent rim light. Pungent, why did I say pungent? It's a strong, I'm trying to say I'm using a really strong lighting setup. In case you're having a little bit of a tough time kind of seeing what I'm seeing here, I'm gonna draw it out for you. Point lighting. Great handwriting. Actually, tell you what, I'm gonna sit down and we'll do that actually in the shot. Okay, cool. Hold on. All right, I'm gonna turn off my lights. I'm gonna leave that light on because it's harder to get to. There's our background. First thing we want to do is decide where we put our subject. You see that? That's me. First thing that I do is I set up my key light. That's my key light. Then to supplement that, we want to use something called a fill light, which is this light to my right. This is easy to understand, right there. So the fill light is going to be similar to our key light, but it's not going to be as intense. And then I have my hair light back there, which is kind of back to my left. Camera. See, that's the camera, that's the subject, these are my 3 lights. That's 3-point lighting, and this is known as broadside lighting, because what I would typically do is, in a conventional interview setup, I would look to the left side of the camera. So you want to light the broad side of the face. This is called, see that? Broadside lighting. Okay, so that's all well and good, and this is gonna work for so many of your lighting setups, and it's gonna be easy to do because it's very tried and true. Everybody does 3-point lighting setup, and a lot of people do it exactly like this. This is good. My problem with 3-point lighting in this setup is that it looks a little sourcey, and by that I mean it looks like somebody lit it. So is there a way that we can take 3-point lighting and broadside lighting and kind of mess with it and hack it a little bit so that it looks a little bit more organic, while also increasing the amount of depth that we have in this very basic, somewhat boring interview setup? So we're gonna see if we can mess with this and do something called reverse key lighting. Okay, so reverse key lighting is gonna be a little bit different. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn off all the lights, I'm gonna leave the cameras rolling, and I'm not gonna move the camera, I'm not gonna move you guys so you can kind of see what I'm doing, and I'm gonna talk you through the whole reverse key lighting setup. So I'm just gonna turn off all the lights and build a reverse key setup. Let's take my fill light and essentially just get it out of the way. Over here. All right, so just by placing the key light over here, you can already kind of see what I mean when I say reverse key lighting. We're gonna take our fill light and we're gonna put it over here a bit. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Cool. I'm actually gonna keep my hair light kind of in the same spot. I actually like where it's at. Now I'm gonna turn on the fill light. That's the fill light. Something I want you to know is that I didn't change any of the light values. All these lights are being powered at the exact same value that they were at before when I did the regular broadside 3-point lighting. So this is reverse key lighting with literally the exact same lighting setups, just kind of put in what I think are more interesting places. That's my key light. Get it out of the shot a little bit. Okay. So what did we change? Our key light is on the right side of the subject and kind of behind it. So we're actually kind of lighting like this. The light is going this way. So now in this situation, we're actually looking into the key light, which is short-siding the subject. So it's lighting the smaller side of the subject. Now, we're gonna see what that looks like in the actual shot. It's fine. So you can already tell how completely different this lighting setup is. Now it has the same diffusion, has the same light values, and it has completely different feel to the entire setup, because what I'm gonna do is now I'm gonna look off camera. This is actually what it would look like in a short-sighted / reverse key setup. So actually what I would do in this setup is I would actually turn down the key light in this situation. So I basically just cut my key light in half. And what I think that that does is create a little bit more dimension inside of the shot. Okay, so again, in this reverse key light situation, we have our key light kind of behind my shoulder on the right. My fill light is actually in front of me on the left. And I kept my rim light / hair light / shoulder light relatively in the same spot. And again, I would look this way during an interview to the left side of the camera. So I'm looking the same direction, but it's got a completely different feel. And honestly, I think it looks a whole lot more cinematic. And most importantly, I think it looks less lit, in my opinion. I think it looks a little bit more natural. And even with a boring interview setup like this, you can create a lot of depth and a lot of style and really just elevate your imagery from good to great. And that's what I'm all about here. That's like my favorite thing to discover, is how to go from good to great. So that's basically what I've got for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you really liked this, go ahead and give it a like. If you loved it, subscribe. I do these videos as often as possible. I'm not sure how many videos are actually gonna be in the depth series, but I'm definitely gonna do at least a couple more. So stick around and I will see you next week. Peace. My room is filthy. I blame the cats.